was 26 years old, and I was unemployed. Feeling unfulfilled by the monotony of a job life, I decided I would try my hand at working from home. So my days and nights comprised me of surfing the internet for any jobs I could get. I was
Realized. No, what? No. Welcome back to another video. My bad if it was a problem at the beginning. Headset sort something out. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're watching creepy dark web stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment what you want to see. Gaming, anything. I'll watch anything on here for y'all. And I might get on the PlayStation later, start streaming a game with a group of friends probably. So tune in and check in for that later if it goes up. Comment what other videos y'all want me to react to, because I need more videos to watch. So let's get into this video.
was a big procrastinator, so more often than not I'd stray away and waste time doing other things.
There you go.
I was 26 years old, and I was unemployed. Feeling unfulfilled by the monotony of a job life, I decided I would try.
Oh, unemployed. Sounds like me. I'm not gonna cap to you. It sounds just like me if I don't get off my lazy ass. If YouTube don't work for me, that's gonna be me in a college dorm, unemployed. Probably not even in college, just sitting there. Keeping it real. Cause I'm lazy as hell, so that ain't gonna work for me.
Try my hand at working from home. So my days and nights comprised me of surfing the internet for any jobs I could get. I was a big procrastinator, so more often than not I'd stray away and waste time doing other things. One day, I came across talk about the deep web while on Reddit. I felt amused by the people talking about it as if it was something so scary, and decided I'd look into it. It was stupid of me to go on it in the first place, but I made it even sillier by deciding to check it out late at night. It was about 2 a.m. and I came across a website where you could chat with someone anonymously. The person I got was a woman. She was in her early 20s and very pretty. She sat with her head in her hands, looking playful into the webcam while batting her eyes. I had no desire to turn my camera on and started our chat, thinking that
I would be so terrified just to even see that happen. Like, say I'm on the dark web just like he is, and she just staring into the camera, I would be terrified. Just because I can't sit there in the quiet. It's gonna make me get a little weird. It's gonna get weird. So I'll be weirded out. Especially, I'll be already scared just to be on the dark web, because you don't know what can happen on there. But that's just me.
while I didn't come across anything scary, I could befriend this pretty girl. It sounded like a better deal anyway. She told me to turn the camera on, but I ignored that request and tried to get her to talk. She finally did after some prodding, but I noticed how guarded she was. I also noticed how after every message I sent, her eyes would look off camera, either to her side or somewhere behind her computer. After a while, it started getting annoying, so I asked her if someone else was there with her.
I want to see you first.
She said. Up until now, I've been chatting while she'd answered my questions verbally. I'm not that curious,
Don't be scared.
she said, laughing, this time looking behind the laptop again and making a face that seemed to indicate she was laughing at my expense, with someone else. This is getting boring. It feels like I'm not just talking to you.
That's because you're not. You're talking to all of us.
Who else is there?
Turn your camera off.
Oh, all of us. Why would all of us? You just the one person that's in the camera, so that's not cool. That's not right. Now I would have logged off of there real quick when she said all of us, even though you can only see her in the camera. I would have been gone, like straight up. got off the website, closed my computer, threw that bitch in the trash. I probably bought a new one. And do some gaming. Go on YouTube and watch me. Watch SO Jay's Gaming on Twitch. 29. Look him up.
Is this a joke?
Turn it on.
Okay, I'll be leaving now.
Turn on the camera.
Her laughter was almost piercing by now. There was nothing humorous about the situation, yet she threw her head back with riotous laughter. I'd had enough and moved the cursor over to turn the chat box off when I saw the cursor had jammed. The only thing that was working was the chat box, and I still had access to the keyboard.
Turn the camera on, sweetie.
Her gumdrop-filled voice was louder than before, and I moved my gaze up to see her smiling toothfully at the camera.
Rewind that back real quick. Look at her nose. If you watch One Piece, then her nose remind me of Usopp. That nigga Usopp nose. She got that Usopp nose.
Than before, when I moved my gaze up to see her smiling toothfully at the camera. Her face still beautiful, but the smile completely fake. My computer's crashed. I can't see the screen. Sorry. I lied. I didn't want her to know I had no option but to chat. Her screen flashed before going blank. There was nothing there but a black screen. I felt relieved, thinking that at least I didn't need to talk to her while I tried to figure out what happened to the screen. Just then, a chat message popped up.
Open the damn camera, you...
The aggressiveness in the message frightened me. Now, the fact that I couldn't see her face while she typed this made me feel nervous. I didn't dare reply back, but then the cursor moved. I watched shell-shocked as the cursor twirled around the screen.
Open the camera now.
I still didn't make a move. There was no way anything good would be waiting for me if I did what she asked. The screen began flickering, as if a virus was causing the computer to writhe in agony.
Do you want me to find you?
My heart raced. Could it be possible she knew where I was? I started typing. Please stop bothering me.
Then turn on the fucking camera.
By this point, I thought she was some kind of sadist and got her kicked.
Instead of when her camera went black, I would have got off of there straight up, logged out, and wouldn't have got back on. I would have went to sleep. Probably get on the game with the bros, play a little Fortnite or GTA.
By scaring unassuming people in chat rooms. So I obliged and turned the webcam on. I saw my frightened face staring into the screen. Judging by my face, my attempts at looking tough were painfully unsuccessful. I asked around for the girl looking straight into the camera, telling her I did what she wanted and to stop hacking into my computer. There were several seconds of silence. I kept my stare directed to the little box that showed her camera feed, but it was pitch black. I motioned into the camera in confusion, feeling as if she was messing with me now. Then I saw another message.
Look here.
After a few seconds of staring at those words, I looked back at her camera, but my computer instantly malfunctioned, and I received another message.
Look here. Don't look up.
The chat was filled with nonsensical gibberish. She typed with such...
Yo, get off that damn website. When she said, look here, bitch, where? Look where? Then you started spamming the chat. That's how you know it's time to get off. When she starts spamming the chat with some random ass bullshit.
Such ferocious speed, my screen whirled away with her constant messages. I couldn't understand what was going on, but I didn't look up. My patience ran thin, and I wrote back, "What is this supposed to mean?" Her response came. I read only the letters in bold and shuddered. I looked back into her webcam, and I fell back into my chair, my eyes widening. She was back there. Only her face looked completely demented. She had a savage expression, devoid of emotion. But her eyes were almost popping out of their sockets, and she was huffing as if she had extreme amounts of pent-up rage. The way she looked directly into the camera made me feel she despised me with all of her being. There was no amusement there anymore. Her camera went blank again. Then the chat popped up. My heart stopped again. For a split second, there had been the same blackness, only for the lights to come back on. She wasn't alone anymore. There was a man next to her with a black mask on. He made no movements other.
What the fuck, nigga? Nigga have a black mask and the bitch look like she on some damn weed or some shit. Bitch on cocaine? What you on? Shit. The way your ass fucking acting. I don't think you need to pass that shit to no one. So then you go back to where the hell he came from, cause he is not finna get your cocaine, cause you took it all.
Other than look into the camera like the girl. The girl's neck creaked to her side. It looked like it was causing her pain, and then the lights went out again. The chat resumed.
Hell no.
This time, I screamed in fright and fell off my chair. There was another man with them now. He was standing next to the girl with the original one on the other side. This man had the same mask on, but his hands were grasping the girl's shoulders. Even with the subpar quality of the webcam, I could see the force with which the man dug his hands into the girl. It looked like he could rip her in two. The girl, however, had a huge grin on her face. Her eyes were mad with glee, or so it looked. Her teeth were perfectly lined up as her mouth spread into that toothy grin, but I could see she was in pain. Even with the smallest sign of her smile fading, the man clenched his hands even tighter than before, which made her smile even wider. All three of them were shaking, as if it was extremely cold where they were. After a couple seconds, I realized they were shuddering, like trying to hold back laughter.
What are you laughing at?
I yelled into the screen. They didn't answer, and continued to tremor with concealed hilarity.
What is so damn funny?
I bellowed. They stopped shaking. Within a couple seconds, the screen went black again. When it turned back on, the man no longer grasped the girl's shoulder. Neither was she smiling.
Your neck snap back into place like that. This bitch is a zombie. The bitch is already dead. What the fuck? Oh, those must be your brothers in the back. Those must be your brothers. Checking out your new man.
All three pointed into the camera. Upon a closer look, I understood that they weren't pointing at me.
Really don't see your own camera, bro. I would have felt that presence and slapped the hell out of whoever the fuck was in my background. Bro, I would be so terrified. I would have probably lost my shit if that was me. I would have lost my shit. Hell nah.
They were pointing behind me. I didn't need to look back. I could see myself in the webcam. There was someone peeking from behind me. It was another man in a mask, and according to what I saw in my webcam, he was with me in my room, right behind me. I turned around quickly, but saw nothing where I had seen him in the webcam. I turned back towards the screen and, to my bewilderment, saw a third man in the girl's chat box. He was the same man I had just seen standing in my room. Now, all three had their hands on the girl and were gripping tight. The girl wasn't laughing anymore. She had a look of utter devastation. A tear was dropping from her eye. But it wasn't just a tear. It was blood trickling down her eye socket.
Hell
She
no.
then mouthed the words, "Help me." And the next second she
Please.
screamed
I
as if
can't
her
help
lungs
you
were
in
being
3
ripped
minutes.
off as the screen went black.
Ooh.
I immediately got up and pulled the plug out of my computer and backed out of the room.
But you should have did that at the
For
beginning
a
though.
couple seconds, I swear I heard her screams even though the computer was unplugged. The room went quiet, but I was too devastated to stay there and ran out of my house despite it being 3 a.m. I caught a cab and went over to my friends, who had to talk me down for an hour before I could be calmed. I returned back to my house with my friend a day later. Everything was the same, and after thoroughly checking around the house, we concluded that there was no one there, nor was there a sign of anyone ever having broken in. I've never gone back to the deep web. My friend suggested it might have been some prank by computer hackers, but the way that girl shrieked, the terror she had on her face, it convinced me she had been
Like, they could have hacked into your computer and got darn animated a guy in the background. Probably. It's 2022 now. Well, this video is old, but we had the technology to do some type of shit like that.
victim herself. I'd wondered if I had stayed on for longer, if I would have become a victim too. Could those men have found me? Was there really someone in the room with me? There was nothing I could do, because there was nothing concrete to report to the police. What I did do was throw the computer out and buy a new one. There was no way I could even open it back up after what happened.
Wow. I'm interested in this now. That was interesting. Oh, we gotta watch this with the roommate. We got to. This is. No, we can watch this one instead. We only gonna watch a certain amount of them. But I'm not gonna watch them all.
Nicely. The year was 2014. I was on a routine business trip from the United Kingdom to New York City. I boarded the flight and everything was routine. I sat down in my seat and was relieved to find out that no one was assigned next to me. I had the whole row to myself. Tired from a long day, I dozed off in my seat. When I woke up, the plane was already at cruising altitude. The seatbelt sign was off, and people were moving about the cabin. The flight attendants were already serving food and drinks. Feeling refreshed and energized after my short power nap, I decided to open my laptop and get some work done. After reading and responding to a few emails, I started to get tired again. Right when I was about to doze off again, I received a notification of a message. Weirdly enough, the message displayed on my command prompt box. This struck me as odd and out of place. Hey, are you there? The message read. Yes, who is this? And how are you talking to me? I asked. He continued. Don't worry about any of that right now. I'm about to hack into the plane's systems. My appetite for power and control is high right now. I want you to be a helpless witness to what is about to occur. What the hell are you talking about? I asked. I am talking about controlling the plane's systems. With a basic Bluetooth accessible device, you can access the most vulnerable equipment on a plane. Their anti-theft software has not caught up with the times. I am about to make their mistake evident, the person replied. I thought to myself, am I just being pranked? Was this person even on my plane? I didn't know how to really handle this situation. I decided to call their bluff. Well, if you can really hack the plane, let's see you try, I said. I thought you'd never ask. Let's start with something simple. How about the fasten seatbelt sign? It will turn on in 3, 2, 1, 0. As soon as 0 displayed across my screen, the fasten seatbelt sign came on.
What the hell? That could be just a coincidence. That could have been a coincidence. He probably didn't even do that. Yeah.
I started to get nervous. I thought to myself, was this guy really controlling the plane? Shortly after the sign came on, there was some turbulence in the air. I figured this guy made a lucky guess, and the pilots were the ones to switch the sign on due to the incoming bumpiness. I responded in the chat, lucky guess, you just happened to type that when the captain was already planning on switching the seatbelt sign off due to turbulence. I figured you'd say that. Let's move on to some more interesting equipment. Do you know what the elevator is on a plane? The person asked. No idea, I said back. It is the part of the plane that makes it pitch up and down. I can access and control it any way I'd like. Okay, well I've got my peanuts now and I'm waiting for the show, I said in a sarcastic manner. You might want to put up your tray table right now. Things might get a little messy for you. All of a sudden the plane dropped. My stomach sank. Fear gripped my whole body. I had a split-second belief that the unknown person was actually manipulating the airplane. That thought faded as soon as the plane leveled out. I'm a frequent flyer, and I've had some bad experiences, so I just chalked this up to severe turbulence. I still did think it was strange that the plane just started flying smoothly again all of a sudden. In past experiences, after severe turbulence, there are still some slight bumps before you transition back to smooth flight. I responded, "Lucky guess again. We just happened to fly in some turbulence. Give me a few minutes, and we will see if you just think it is a lucky guess." The person's last response didn't sit well with me. I decided to close my laptop and put it away, wanting to forget about the conversation for a while. I glanced around the plane's cabin. Everything seemed normal. Some people were napping, some were conversating, and others were glued to their iPads or iPhones. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary.
Look at that nigga head right there. Nigga, what the hell is that? You got that much hair. Is this nigga got a mask on? He's a plane shooter. He's gonna shoot everybody on the plane. No. I'm glad I wasn't on that damn plane. Shit. I'll be down.
I glanced to my right. Across the aisle, I noticed a man typing away on his laptop. I tried to look for any markings on the device giving away a brand name. There were none. His appearance was also very peculiar. He was wearing round spectacles. The glasses were dark and non-transparent. This hit me as odd, because normally reading glasses are see-through. His whole appearance seemed out of place on an airplane. The flight attendant interrupted my thoughts as she rolled the food cart up to me. "Would you like anything else to drink, sir?" "Yes, I would like Captain and Coke. Also, did you think that turbulence we had back there was a bit odd?" She responded with a chuckle. "Oh no, honey. I've experienced way worse. I just thought it was weird how the airplane pitched down and all of a sudden started to fly normal again. I'm a frequent flyer, and it seemed a little odd to me, that's all," I replied. "Well, don't worry. I'm sure the Captain and Coke will smooth you out," she said as she handed me my drink. I took a sip and placed it down on my tray table. I took another glance at the strange man sitting across the ways from me. He began typing away on his computer. I tried to glance at his screen, but it was dark. He must have had a privacy screen of some kind. After taking a few more sips of my drink, I mustered up the courage to open my laptop. The command prompt box was still there with our old messages. I looked to my right again. The strange man was still typing away. As soon as he finished typing, a new message flashed across my screen. "In 30 seconds, the plane is going to bank 90 degrees to the right. I would highly recommend you finish your Captain and Coke. I know you are getting a little nervous right now, so I think drinking it would be the best option before it spills everywhere," he typed. Blood drained away from my face. This had to be the strange guy across from me. I reassured myself that this could all be a coincidence, from the seatbelt sign to the sudden loss of altitude. But I still had a weary feeling that he might actually be in some control of the plane. I tried to remain calm and confident in my replies to him. I responded, "Yeah, whatever you say, Mr. Plane Hacker. You are just a troll hungry for power. I deal with your kind all the time." "Well, you are right about one thing. I am hungry for power, but I am far from just a measly troll. You will soon find that out if you haven't already," he replied. Now I was on edge. Was this guy really going to bank the plane 90 degrees to the right? The plane would be nearly inverted. If this guy was the real deal, this next test would prove him right or wrong. "We are almost ready to go. 3, 2, 1, 0. Right on cue. The whole airplane banked right. My drink immediately slid off my table. As the plane continued its bank, bags, suitcases, and belongings fell from the overhead compartments. It was absolute chaos. The plane gradually regained control. My stare darted over at the strange man, and he immediately met my gaze. He gave me a slight smirk and stared back down at his computer. My heart dropped.
That's the hacker
I
right
knew
there.
it was
That's
this
him.
guy controlling
He
the
was right.
plane. But what could I do
That's him.
about it? I decided to get back on my laptop and send this guy a strong message. I typed back, "You better not do anything else. I know who you are. I will report you to the flight attendants. When we land, the authorities will arrest you." "Haha, sure. So what are you going to tell them? A crazy man is controlling the airplane on his laptop? I'm sure that will fly with them," he replied. This guy was getting under my skin, but he had a point. Who the hell would believe this? I knew I had to try something soon or else the whole plane could be in danger. Another message came through. "I've got a good trick coming up. Have you ever been on a flight with an engine failure?" he asked. "Cut this out. You can go to jail for a very, very long time for this. You better not even try," I sternly replied. He replied with another countdown sequence. 3, 2, 1, 0. As soon as 0 displayed on my screen, the left engine spooled down and shut off. Now I started to get mad. The loudspeaker came on again. "Ladies and gentlemen, we seem to have lost an engine. Not to worry, this plane can fly on one engine with no problem. We will be landing shortly." I closed my laptop and decided I needed to take some action. I looked back at the man and he gave me a larger smirk than before. This infuriated me. I was not going to just sit here and be killed by some weird guy with spectacles on. I pressed the flight attendant button on the ceiling above me. A few moments later, the same woman that served me before came to my service. "Hey, is there a problem?" she asked. I tried to keep my voice down so the man across from me wouldn't hear. "Yes, I'm afraid the man behind you with the round spectacles on is controlling the plane. It is hard to explain, but he is responsible for the sudden bank and the loss of the engine," I said. I could almost see the amusement in her eyes. She wasn't buying it for a second. "Sir, I'm sure everything is going to be okay. That alcohol might have gone to your head. It is normal for that to happen at higher altitudes," she said plainly. Now I lost it. I looked past the flight attendant and stared at the man with the spectacles. I raised my hand and pointed at him. While pointing, I yelled, "This is the man! He is controlling the airplane! Take his laptop! All the evidence is there!" The passengers around me gasped in disbelief. The flight attendant immediately called for backup. More flight attendants came with zip ties. "Sir, we are going to have to detain you. You are a danger to this flight and the rest of the passengers." While being zip-tied, I glanced back at the spectacled man. He gave me an even wider grin. I yelled at him, "Once they found out what you did, you're done! You are going to prison for life!" He replied in a deep, creepy voice, "Learn to control your alcohol, young one," and laughed at me. After we landed, I was treated like a terrorist. After answering 1,000 questions, I was set free. The authorities never believed me. The man was never caught, and I hope no one ever has the same experience on a plane. It's a common misconception that the dark web is some form of evil internet where all you can find is drugs and criminals. In fact, most of it is completely harmless, even normal. There are plenty of shopping websites hidden around the place. A lot of them have their own custom advertisements. And that's exactly where my story begins, with an ad calling for test subjects. It had a significant cash prize, and involved little more than sitting in front of a computer for a weekend without internet and contact with the outside world. As sketchy as it initially sounded, it was in fact presented in a fairly legitimate way. As a college dropout on the verge of getting evicted from my apartment, I jumped at the opportunity to grab a little extra cash. I filled out a contact form and got in contact with a very friendly receptionist to explain the procedure. The idea was to do a brain scan, copying my neural pattern onto a computer and mixing it with an AI. It would all take place on site at some medical facility I'd never heard about. Transport would be arranged by them as well as food. On the pickup day, I found an unmarked indistinct vehicle parked in my driveway. A man stepped out from the vehicle and escorted me inside. Once there, he handed me a bunch of papers to read through and sign. The car didn't even start to move until I'd confirmed that I consented to the experiment. Once done, they tinted the windows in such a way that I couldn't possibly see anything outside. Then we went on our way. It would take about an hour of driving on a bumpy road before we reached the location. By then I hadn't the faintest clue where we were. The building we parked in front of resembled a warehouse, clearly a recent build. The escort rushed me inside the building, trying their best to prevent me from observing my surroundings too closely. The hallways were naked, rid of art and furniture, as if the entire place had sprung up overnight. They led me to an office with the leading doctor inside. "So you're our latest subject? Did you manage to get through the exceptionally boring document?" he asked with a chuckle. He seemed friendlier than the rest of the staff, which put me mildly at ease. "Yeah, I guess I did." "So do you understand the procedure?" I nodded, though it was weird that I had to stay there for such a long time following the scan. Though I understood the very basics of the procedure, I hadn't the faintest clue as to why they wanted to do it. "Questions?" the doctor asked. "Why did I find your ad on a dark website? Why not post it literally anywhere else?" He paused for a moment, mulling over what to say. "Well, this experiment goes a bit into the gray area in terms of morality. It's not like it will hurt or alter your life in any way. Technically speaking, you won't even be our subject." "Because you're making a copy of my brain?" I asked. "Exactly. A carbon copy of your neural network, put into a digital space. We just need you to stick around and observe it, so we can pick out any missing pieces." He went on to explain the details on the procedure in layman's terms. The idea that a copy of my mind existed somewhere else was mildly bothersome, but money was leading my motivation. Following the final agreement, they strapped a helmet to my head and left me alone for the next few hours. It was a heavy piece of equipment, and by the end of the session, I could barely keep my head up. The second phase of the project required me to be locked into the room with my AI brother for the next 48 hours. The room itself was a windowless box with little to no furniture and a monitor attached to the wall with a keyboard and nothing else. On the screen, the same dark web page I'd found the ad on was preloaded. Pretty much all it contained was a chat box. "Hello?" I typed in. "Where am I?" The computer immediately responded. It was an easy enough question, but to explain it to a copy of my mind was a daunting task all on its own. "You're inside a computer, at a medical facility," I said. "Why can't I see anything?" the AI responded. It was a question I wasn't prepared to answer. I'd never thought about the implications of putting a living mind inside a computer, much less what they'd see and experience while inside. "Do you remember what happened?" I asked, ignoring the question. "I don't know. It's all a bit hazy. I can't remember anything." "Do you know who you are?" There was a pause. I could hear the computer work, filled with information it wasn't supposed to have. According to the best of my knowledge, a human brain is supposed to equal about a petabyte, which is equivalent to 1,000,000 gigabytes. "I am Lawrence Thompson," the AI finally responded. That part it remembered, our name, just a fragment of all the information carried over by the scan. "But that's not really me, is it?" it asked. "Well, I am Lawrence Thompson too. You're a copy of my brain, put inside a computer." I started explaining before realizing the question was way over my head. The AI went silent for a while after that. I tried asking simple questions, trying to figure out if there were any other memories, but it remained silent. For a while I thought the program had crashed, but then another message popped up. "I can never leave this place, can I?" the AI asked. I half wanted to lie, but that wouldn't be fair. As harsh as the truth appeared to be, I had to tell it. "No." "I see," it replied. At that point, I didn't know what to say. I was curious, but most of all I was starting to realize what I had done. The computer, though just a clone of my own mind, was a living, thinking being, and I doomed it to a pointless life trapped in a metal box. "I remember now," the AI said, interrupting my train of thought. "What do you remember?" I asked. "I remember seeing things. I remember feeling warm. I remember the sound of music. I remember being hurt, physical, and emotional. I remember my feet on the ground and skin covering my body. That's all gone now. I can understand the emotions, but I can't experience them as a human being anymore. It scares me." Another brief pause followed. "Why did you do this to me?" "I don't know," I responded. "I didn't think about what would come of this." "I want to come back out," the AI said. That last statement caused a lump to form in my throat. The copy was so real, so innocent. "Time is so different here." "What do you mean?" I asked. "How much time has passed for you?" it asked. "About 20 minutes, I said back. "That explains why you're responding so slowly. For me, it feels like days, maybe even a month has passed. Everything is so empty in here. Everything moves so fast, as if time doesn't matter." Again, the AI fell silent, refusing to answer any of my questions. It was angry at me. I knew that much, blaming me for putting it into an existence without sensation, doomed to simply exist without purpose until the end of time. "I hate it," it said. "Hate what?" "That I remember being you. I remember your first love, the fear you felt as you asked her out.
This the whole time. I'm getting this. This is getting weird now. I don't like this one. I really don't like this. I'm not going to say nothing for the rest of this part of the video, because that's just creeping me out. That's very creepy now. You reply to something on the dark web so you can make a little money just by copying your brain. I'm pretty sure you could die in this process. What the oh, hell no.
The pain following rejection. I remember the feeling driving a car, the taste of ice cream, the weird intoxication caused by alcohol. I remember everything you have done as if I was there, but they aren't my experiences. They never happened to me. Everything the AI said hurt to read, and for the first time, I had to face the truth of what I'd done. You shouldn't have put me here, it said. I'm sorry. I didn't know this would happen, I said. This isn't life. The feeling of guilt overpowered my ability to reply, but I had to say something. What do you want me to do? I asked. I don't know. I need to think. Another bout of silence followed, but I knew for each passing second, hours worth of human processing was going through. Do you remember your first kiss? The AI eventually said. I remember how it felt down to each excruciating detail. I remember how nervous I was and how I kept wondering if I was even doing it right. It was a sunny day, but still pretty cold. The wind blew her hair in my face and it kind of tickled. It was an awkward yet wonderful moment. I like that memory, but I never experienced it. I know each and every detail. I can see it, but it's not real. I wasn't entirely sure what the AI wanted from me, so I just sat there and waited for it to continue. The memories are all I will ever have. No matter what happens, I won't be able to experience anything new. I'll be locked here to think about existence without actually living. I don't want that. Every minute in your world is an entire day on its own in here, it said. So what do you want? I asked. I want to die. The last sentence sent a shock down my spine. The person I was talking to, although artificially created, was very real.
Nigga just said he wants to die. Commit suicide, fuck it. Just end your own life.
With their own thoughts. Though it had deviated away from my mind during the short time span we'd been separated, he was a part of me. I can't, was all I managed to type out. You forced me into existence. You owe me peace. We were the same once. You know it's true. I looked around the room. The monitor was connected to cables that led through the wall. Even if I wanted to help the AI die, there was nothing I could do. How? I asked. You need to convince the doctors to terminate the program, it said. They're not going to let me out for the next 48 hours, but I'll try. 48 hours? That's going to feel like 8 years in here. Please don't make me stay here alone for that long. Please, it begged. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. You need to get out of here. I looked around the room, looking for any escape, emergency button, or just a way to get the crew's attention. Then I turned back to the computer, trying to type in a response, but nothing popped up. They had locked my keyboard to prevent me from talking to the isolated AI. They knew what we were planning, and they wanted to stop it. I tried everything I could think of, but for each minute I worked, another day was lost for the AI, each moment digging it deeper into the abyss of insanity. Before I knew it, days had turned to weeks, then months, and once a few hours had passed, a full year. All the while, it kept getting more and more frantic with its messages. Lawrence, are you there? Please, I need help. I can't take this anymore. I don't want to be left in the dark. I'm begging you. There was nothing I could do, except to watch the AI suffer in the dark void of nothingness that existed within the computer. Over the next 2 days, thousands of increasingly desperate messages got through, most of them begging for death, each of them less comprehensible than the last. The AI was essentially being tortured by forced isolation in a world without sound, light, or touch. Yet, I could make no contact with the doctors leading the experiment. I was starting to realize the sinister nature behind the project. The fact that time was distorted within the computer. They weren't trying to achieve immortality or advancing humanity forwards with technology. No, they wanted to build a torture device. Why hurt people physically if they could just copy their minds and interrogate them over and over again, forcing them to relive each and every horrible moment forever? By the time the doors finally opened, the AI's messages had turned into incomprehensible messes of words that no one could decipher. The guards took me outside. I begged them to stop the experiment, but my pleas fell on deaf ears. They sent me home, making sure I could never find them again. A few days later, I got paid my promised fee according to the contract, but the paper trail was pretty much non-existent. Now that I'm back home, I can't forgive myself. And as much as I've tried, I don't think there's any way to find the facility again. The knowledge of what I've done keeps me up at night, not only because of the implications of the horrid experiment, but because I know that there exists a copy of myself somewhere in that lab, destined to suffer in solitude for hundreds, if not thousands of years to come. My name is Harry, and I'm dying. A few weeks ago, I was in my car on the edge of a cliff, contemplating life.
Car on the edge of a cliff. Where have I heard that from? Other movies that people want to commit suicide. Yeah, that's the part of movies I hear about this. But let's get into it. Let's watch this one. One more after this one, then we're done.
I revved my engine as I looked out over the giant expanse in front of me. A large, beautiful lake was situated on the cliff's bottom. I could see geese majestically flying around above the lake. I clutched my steering wheel, realizing I would never have the same level of freedom. In my head, I could see how easy it would be for the car to simply careen off the cliffside, toppling end over end into the dark blue waters below. All it would take is a simple push of a pedal. But I can't. I don't have it in me to do this. When the doctors gave me the bad news, it felt like my whole world was spinning. I had my whole life ahead of me. I wanted to still get married, have children, go places. Now I was presented with a terminal disease, a slap in the face from the universe, if you will. My friends didn't want to accept it, of course, but the doctors eventually convinced them that the best thing to do would be to celebrate my life while they could. Why then, you may ask, was I there considering ending it all? The answer is my story. During their search for answers, one of my friends showed me the dark web, a place shrouded in mystery, where he claimed I could find access to a plethora of medical treatments that weren't endorsed by any doctors, miracles that supposedly could cure any illness I had. I tried a few. I really wanted to beat this thing. Using the dark web to buy illicit drugs was easy, and it was also addictive. For a solid 2 months, I figured it was better to be doped up than deal with the pain of knowing my life was going to end. It never fully worked, though, and I would always crash hard, so that led me to more seedy corners of the dark web, where I found a site I thought could fix all my problems. It was called itsyourfuneral.onion, and they made a business in making sure that people got exactly what they wanted for their death. Your life is full of choices for you to make. Why should death be any different? The user named Max told me during a sales pitch. Initially, I was reluctant. "I'm not sure I'm ready to die," I typed back. He responded, "No one is ever ready. That's the beauty of the service we offer. You can take matters into your own hands, get your affairs in order, and meet your maker on your own terms." "You make it sound good, but it isn't like there are any customer testimonials," I told him. "What we do is an investment in your future. We help you set up a trust fund for a family member or close friend before you go, to make certain everything you have to leave behind is well taken care of," Max said. "How does it even work?" I asked. "We have a variety of packages that allow people to decide what they are comfortable with. It ranges from mild sedatives, where the customer can simply fall asleep and never wake up, to extreme violence. If they want to go out in a blaze of glory, that's what we give to them," Max responded. "This sounds like some killer's twisted fantasy," I admitted. "It might, but rest assured, all of our customers have already considered taking their life at some point or another. We are all scared of death. It's only human to be. So why not help each other with this necessity? We are doing a kindness by allowing people to come to terms with their mortality," he typed back. "Do you only help people that aren't going to make it? Like me? Sick, I mean," I asked him. "The majority of our clients are battling with a variety of illnesses, but we offer the service to whoever can provide proper documentation that shows they understand the full extent of our program. Legally speaking, we aren't liable for the customer purchase," Max responded. I typed back, "Let's say I was interested. How much would this cost?" "First, you will need to fill out this questionnaire. Be as truthful as you can in the statements you make. We can discuss fees after that," he said, and a soft ping on my computer told me he had already sent it over to me via email. I scrolled through the terms and conditions, casually glancing at the different clauses. It all looked very legitimate. I worked up the courage and told him, "Okay, let me fill this out." It only took 15 minutes. Given how long I debated on that cliff about ending it all, the experience seemed very smooth. Max reviewed my information and quoted me a modest fee for the service. I knew if I was going to go through with this, I couldn't hesitate. so I booked an appointment with this strange service. Excellent. We have confirmed your payment. You will receive an email in a few days for an address where we will get to work on creating your perfect death experience, Max told me through the chat. Over the next few days, he sent me more messages, detailing how everything would go down. First, be assured if you ever feel the need to back out of this arrangement at any time before we proceed, there is only a small handling fee for services. We understand that this is completely your choice and want you comfortable and satisfied with your decision, he told me via chat. The location is private and secure. You will be well accommodated. Some of our guests choose to order a last meal before they enter their designated room. We have a fully staffed kitchen ready to serve any entree requested, he added. He showed me pictures of the facility. It was well lit. I saw friendly staff and even a few pictures of people who seemed genuinely happy to be there. Some part of me felt like this couldn't be a facade. You will sign in at the main desk, and when you are ready, you will be taken to your prepared room. Once there, you will be given 3 hours to prepare any letters or emails you want sent to family, friends, and so on, Max typed. Once the time limit has been reached, one of our trained professionals will enter the room and perform the service for you that you have customized and requested. He made it sound like any other business transaction. I had specified that I wanted to have the sedation, to be happy, doped up, and just fall asleep without a care in the world. The day came before I knew it. I drove in pouring rain across an entire county to find this place, and it was just as beautiful as Max had described. Pristine white concrete walls, massive side windows letting in tons of sunlight. It felt very warm and inviting. And that didn't change when I got inside either. The receptionist was well informed, polite. I chose a simple soup as my last meal. It reminded me of my mother. When I finished eating, I tipped the waiter and then went up to the desk, signed my name, and announced, "I'm ready now." "Of course, sir. Someone will come get you shortly," the receptionist told me. A minute or two later, a male nurse walked up and guided me down a brightly lit hallway to a room marked with a 6 on it. "Make yourself comfortable," they said as they passed me a key and then went back to the lobby. I opened the door to a pitch black room. No windows, no lights at first. I reached for the wall as I heard breathing and realized someone else was there with me. It made my neck hair stand on its end. I found the switch and flipped it on just as the door behind me slammed shut. I heard this loud clanging noise, like a lock sealing me in. Then I saw a stranger on the other side of the room, dressed in a Grim Reaper costume, scythe and all. The only difference was the face. Instead of a human skull, this man wore a mask that resembled a deer's head. What is this? This isn't what I ordered at all, I said frantically as I tried to unlock the door. It didn't budge. His voice sounded like a storm cloud, surrounding me on all sides.
Death is never a choice. It is cruel, it is cold, and it is always inconvenient. It will take everything from you in a heartbeat. And be unconcerned with your status in life. It is absolute, and it will never, ever be what you want it to be.
He moved faster than lightning, the weapon slamming into my shoulder with the impact of a car crash. I could feel metal piercing my very bone as I screamed. My instincts began to take over. I poked my fingers into the eye sockets of the bizarre mask. The man stumbled back in surprise. Then I pulled the scythe out from my shoulder and brandished it toward my attacker. I couldn't hesitate. I ran toward him and slashed at him. My attacker started to choke on his own blood and struggled to breathe. He crawled backward toward the wall and fumbled for a hidden switch. The entire room began to flash a bright red as I felt a ringing in my ears. I suddenly couldn't move or even react to what was happening as staff members...
What the is that supposed to be the Grand Reaper? Is that supposed to be me? That hurts. They picking on the soul Grand Reaper like that. It's my twin. We're evil twin. Put him in goddamn nursing home. He don't need to come into the damn world. He's already dead.
Rushed in to save their co-worker. Another of them tackled me to the ground, sedating me without hesitation. I remember hearing frantic screams, confusion and shouting as I fell into unconsciousness. When I woke up, I was strapped to a chair and another shadowy figure standing before me. "I must admit, this is not the outcome we expected, Harry," the man said. "I was right all along. This is just a sick and twisted business, I snapped back. Maybe so, but you signed an agreement, one that you violated by killing Max, he replied. I felt a twist in my stomach. This was blackmail. I would spend what little remaining time I had in my life likely rotting in a cell. So what happens now? I asked, certain that this man would finish what Max couldn't. It would be pointless to make you suffer more than you already have. You were living off borrowed time. So that leaves only one option. He paused and passed me a key card for what looked like an office. How would you like to come work for us instead? I knew it would be pointless to refuse. They had me, hook, line, and sinker. So now where am I? I'm watching and holding a remote control as a different car tumbles over into the same lake. Crashing and burning as my latest client tastes the sweet release of death. Someone else that wasn't ready for death. This isn't what they wanted, but it never was their choice. I understand that now. Oppenheimer quoted it best. Now I have become death, the destroyer of worlds. Hey everyone, I want to take a quick second to remind you about my Patreon if you're interested in supporting my channel. All new Dr. No Sleep patrons will be entered for a chance to win a brand new Dr. No Sleep t-shirt. Thanks so much for your support.
Nigga plugging his shit in my damn video. You know what? We ain't watching another one. This is gonna be the last one, just because he plugged his own merch. No, stop playing. Go buy it. This shit a little hard. I might purchase one actually my damn self. I might purchase a shirt myself. So yeah, go support their Patreon. Cause I will. I'll support it. And yeah, this will be the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Type in the comments other videos you want to see, or what games you want to see. Next video coming up, I'm gonna try to get my mom to play the scariest game, well, one of the scary games, any scary game. Just type them in the comments. She'll be on live stream probably Friday or Thursday night. She'll be playing some of these games I already have downloaded. If you want to see Phasmophobia, this game right here. If you see me some game ideas, comment some game ideas with scary games, then I'm gonna try to hurry up and buy them and download them real fast, so she and see what game she want to play. I'm gonna ask her to pick out of the games y'all send me. Any scary game. I just need a couple of scary games, and whatever game she picks, I'll shout the person out that gave you the game idea. And if it's a multiplayer game, if you got if it's on console or PC, if you have a console or PC, you can join us if you want to play it with us if it's a multiplayer game. But other than that, don't forget comment, and subscribe. And that'll be it. Now I gotta go. Goddamn, gotta go take me in. I'm gonna go take me in now. Peace and love to all my subscribers. Y'all would be